In regular season baseball, we play so many games that everybody loses. You can play well and lose, and that's okay. You can't, over the course of a 60-game regular season, you can't live and die with each game. You'll drive yourself crazy. So once you get into the playoffs and you get to the point where, for 6 consecutive games, we really couldn't lose. It ratchets up that intensity, significantly. And every at bat matters, every run matters. That first inning run that, for 60 games was a pretty big deal. Now is a really big deal. And just kind of everything gets magnified. And I think it's a lot of fun. It's a different level of intensity that would be almost impossible to sustain over the course of a whole regular season. But we were lucky to kind of be able to find that level and keep it for the better part of 2 weeks. Once we lost game 1 of the CAA, you're really sort of backs up against the wall, and the goal, like we were stressing to the team, and I think we did a good job from their end of buying into it, was really just to get to the next day's game. It was, hey, let's win that Northeastern game and get back to Charleston, and then from there let's win that Charleston game and move on to Wilmington and all that kind of stuff. Once you get into playoff baseball, you never know exactly where it's going to end. We couldn't have really foreseen what was going to happen, but it was just, hey, let's find a way to get to the next day. But once we got to the championship game, Wilmington had been the best team in the league, for the course of the season. They came here and they beat us 3 straight. Offensively, they were one of the best teams in the country. So we knew it was a big challenge ahead of us. Obviously, the first game, the first championship game, needing to win 2, they jumped out on us pretty good.
2 outs for Stupinski as he crushes it down the line into the corner and gone. Gavin Stupinski with home run number 13 on the season, and a dagger for Wilmington, now an 8-1 lead.
And it was looking pretty bleak there for a while.
Ground ball, it's fair down the right field line. He went 3 2/3. That one sliced into right center. Diving as Thorburn can't come up with it. McConey will score. The 2-2. Ground ball, base hit through the left side. Charlie Gould walks home. And it's now just a 3-run lead. And he just hit him with the pitch, and that's going to force home another run. And the 1-1-2 Hall. And he gets hit by the pitch. Wright stops on home plate. It's a 1-run game. 3-1 pitch. And it's in the air to center field. Thorburn is back. Makes the catch. Tagging from third is Amir. And we are tied.
We did a pretty good job of not letting that game get any more out of hand than it did. And I know 7 runs is a pretty good deficit, but if you look back at that game, we pitched out of some jams to keep it at that point, which kind of goes unnoticed. Once we got into that 9th inning there, it was a slow build. It was, and that's my favorite piece of it. We were able to, we sent 12 guys to the plate that inning. We had 11 really good at bats. And to do that at any point is pretty remarkable. To do it under those circumstances, we were, had no margin for error, had our season on the line. We were facing 2 relievers in that inning, that both of whom have since been drafted in professional baseball, both really good arms. So to come up with that type of performance was just a really good testament to a bunch of guys that just didn't want to stop playing together. And my favorite piece of it, reflecting on it, is that nobody tried to be a hero. I think if one guy had tried to do more than he was capable, tried to swinging the ball out of the strike zone or tried to hit a home run, it wouldn't have happened. It was guys willing to take walks. It was guys willing to, hit with 2 strikes and hit a single. It didn't matter how it happened. Owen Soccer got hit by probably a 93-mile-an-hour fastball in the back, and he couldn't have been more excited, in that 9th inning. You know what I mean? Like, at that point, nobody cared how it happened. It was just, all right, whatever it takes. So. There was no way to continue with that game that day. The officials there and the umpires and everybody in Charleston had pushed it to the point where, getting through 9 innings was all that we were going to be able to get that day. And then that brought a whole different set of challenges where we didn't know if the weather was going to break at all for us to be able to continue. In tournament play, the conference was telling us that we needed to be done by midnight that night with the entire tournament. So, obviously with the NCAA selections coming the next day and everything that needs to be done in preparation for that, it was probably the one point where baseball does have a clock. So we had, certainly a lot of dynamics involved in leading into that game. If we weren't able to continue, after the tropical storm, it reverts back to seeding, and Wilmington would have been declared tournament champions and would have got the conference's automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. And then, when we were lucky enough to get a chance to restart, we were, kind of fresh start for them, heading right into, being the road team in an extra inning game at that point against a really good offense. So if we had made one bad pitch, they could hit a home run, it was season over. So, it was certainly a different, deal showing up to the ballpark. I mean, we could have been there for 15 minutes, honestly. I mean, they go double, and it's game over, So we were facing a really good lineup, and, our relievers did a great job of giving us a chance to get through 2 scoreless innings, and then, fortunately, Large hit the huge home run. We were able to hold on and force the second championship game.
This one hit hard into right center field. That ball keeps going, and it is gone. A solo home run. First pitch by Colin Large gives William & Mary a 9-8 lead.
You get about a half hour after that, rain delay and Colin's home run and holding on through that wild finish to kind of restart with a chance to win a championship. So we were at that point we were kind of up for anything, So we turned right around, and that thing was pretty much a slugfest from inning 1 through the end. We had some guys, obviously at the end of a tournament, you've used a lot of your pitching. We had some guys step up for us and give us all they had, starting with Nick Brown, who came back on short rest to pitch that thing, and everybody who followed him had some huge hits along the way, obviously none bigger than Joshua's grand slam in the 8th inning.
Seahawks and Tribe locked in a 9-9 tie. This one hit hard towards left field. Going back is Linkus. He'll look up. That ball is gone. A grand slam. First pitch swinging from the batter, Josh Smith. Have yourself a day, kid.
That is a huge base hit by Josh Smith, the senior.
Yeah, we were able to, build, I think, a 5-run lead heading into the 9th inning. So, Gowett was out there. He obviously was a guy that, William Mary's all-time saves leader, been a great performer for us for his whole career. Deserved to get those last 3 outs, and he was awesome. You could tell that he saw the finish line, and he pitched great in that 9th inning.
Bearing down, looking to close this one out with the win. This one chopped on the ground. The first baseman Gould will toss to the pitcher in time, and William & Mary has won the 2016 CAA baseball tournament.
What has it been like for this team, especially in the last 24 hours?
I'll tell you what, I went from tears in my eyes in the 8th inning, yesterday's game, thinking my career was completely over, down 7 runs, to this feeling right now, which is just pure elation. And it's been the biggest roller coaster of emotions, but I couldn't ask for anything else.
To see the guys celebrate on the field, as a coach, it's a really rewarding experience, to see those guys be able to, celebrate all their hard work and, get a chance to, kind of enjoy that victory on the field.
All right, the reigning national champion Virginia Cavaliers. They are a host site. They will take on William & Mary, the Tribe, which had to battle back to win the Colonial.
Yeah, obviously, whenever you go to the NCAA tournament, you're gonna play somebody very good. A bunch of very good teams, I guess, will be in the tournament with you. Going to Charlottesville, had a nice appeal to it. Obviously, it's close enough where a lot of our players' families and things like that, and people from Williamsburg and people from the athletic department could experience it and could get up there and see the game. So that was a nice part of it. Obviously, a terrific venue. So we were just excited to get a chance to keep playing. It was as good a spot as we could ask for.
Live from Charlottesville, Virginia, it's the Charlottesville Regional. featuring the defending national champion Virginia Cavaliers. Today their opponent, the Tribe of William and Mary.
Obviously the first Virginia game, we didn't play a bad game. You know, we pitched ourselves into some bad counts. You know, they were able to open up a few innings on us, but we played fine. And I think what happened is maybe that, you know, showed us that we were going to be okay, that, you know, we took some good at-bats. You know, we took some, you know, we were able to, you know, play a pretty good baseball game up there. Leading on to the rest of the tournament, I think what we did over the next couple of days is we just played really well, you know, and I think that keeps you in it. You know, we pitched very well. We had good starting pitching performances. We played really strong defense, and we were able to get some big hits. You know, we were able to do just enough to beat some of the good teams that are in front of us, Bryant and Virginia and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, I think there was no real mystery to it up there. I just think, you know, we had some confidence. We started to play better as the season went on, and we played good baseball up there. I guess the goal is to continue to raise the bar, and I think the guys have sort of fed into that a little bit. You know, if you think back to the 2013 team, you know, was the first team in quite a while to get to the NCAA tournament. You know, they achieved it with the at-large bid, which is a great achievement. You're one of the better, you know, I don't know, 20 or so teams in the country that get those at the end of the season. Terrific accomplishment, you know, and that team, you know, sort of paved the way for a lot of this, you know, and a lot of those guys, you know, it was great to see them be involved, and kind of, a lot of them were at the game in Charlottesville, and, you know, kind of continuing to stay with us and have the feeling where they helped build this a little bit, because they did, you know. And then you go to the 14 team, and those guys, you know, consistently throughout the season to win a regular season championship is a really big deal. You know, a regular season in baseball is a big sample size, and the best team wins, you know. And I think that team, you look back on it, and now we've had 5 guys off that starting 9 that went on to play professional baseball. I mean, that was a pretty good club, you know, and they, you know, certainly continue to raise the bar. And then you get to it this year, and it was a little bit of a new group. You know, there were some holdovers from those first couple teams that were big parts of it, you know, but it was a little bit of a transitional group, a lot of younger guys experiencing it for the first time. And I think, you know, what they wanted to do is they wanted to leave their mark a little bit. And, you know, the end of this year was certainly a great you know, a great achievement and a great, you know, building point to move forward, you know, because obviously a CAA tournament championship, you know, 2 more wins in the NCAA tournament, you know, we, you know, certainly pleased with how those guys were able to finish, you know, certainly pleased with for the ability for our seniors to go out on a great note, and for the experiences that some of those younger guys were able to get. Go Tribe.